Want to share how I did my front axle seals on my Hummer H2. Save some good money here and apply it towards something else. First, you're going to need 3 seals from Amazon, GM factory ones, 12 bucks each. You're going to need a 15mm sockets, 13s, 18s, and 2 big pry bars. You may also need a slide hammer to remove the seal from passenger side. Found lots of videos online, watched a couple before doing this. Had people taking off the entire front end to get to these, and it made no sense, even though most of those videos were for the Chevy truck versions. There's just simple C-clips on each axle that pops in and makes it pretty easy to get the axle shafts out. So first, go ahead and drain off about half a quart to 1 quart of diff fluid. You can throw the drain plug right back in and save yourself about 40 bucks in fluid. Once you drain that out, you won't have any trouble with fluid when you pull the axles. So, very straightforward. You don't need to do anything other than remove the CV shafts from the axle flanges. Got 6 bolts on the CV, and you have 5 bolts on the axle shaft that attaches to the diff. So let the CV axle hang by itself, and then you can proceed to remove the axle housing. That's the 5 bolts that attach to the diff. You will get the shaft and the housing will come out together. You do have to overcome the C-clip here. It takes some wiggling and or a little tap with a hammer on the back of the flange. Forgot to tell you, you will have to remove the bolt that holds the axle housing to the upper cross member. It's an 18mm bolt and an 18mm nut. On the driver's side, you'll have 6 bolts for the CV. Disconnect them and you can get that to hang out of the way. Then a couple taps on the back of the flange and you'll get the little mini axle out. So here's everything you're taking out. You have the driver's side short axle, and from the passenger side you have the long axle and the housing for it.
And I don't feel like doing it.
Alright, so this is how I got
$10 on Amazon.
the seal out of the driver's side. I used a large pry bar,
so here's
and a smaller one to protect the aluminum housing. When I pried, worked really good. It takes a lot of torque.
Pry. And it takes a lot. Okay, this time.
And just for the record here, I think you'd be a lot better off giving this some really good solid taps and just driving it in. I was being really soft and gentle, and I think I messed up my first seal, which I did end up replacing again after I did not like the way it looked getting installed.
Just about there.
Alright, so that's it. Takes a little bit of finesse to get the seal in. And then as soon as you're done with that, you take your nice, clean axle and pop it in there. You're going to have to hit it with the hammer a couple times.
And the seal itself is really hard. Here's the hammer I used to just pop it. If you just tap it 2 times right here, it popped right out for me. And that's in all the way.
So the passenger side seal was really tough. Once you have that off the truck, you lose a lot of leverage. You can't stand on it and hold it. Just doesn't work. Tried a standard seal puller, no go. Didn't want to destroy the thin aluminum housing for the seal. So I ended up buying a large slide hammer with a couple claws to grip it from the inside. Saw a couple people on YouTube do this and proceed to beat it out with that. Worked pretty good. After discovering the pry bar method that I did on the driver's side, I would try that first and go from there. If that didn't work, then I think the slide hammer is going to be your only option. So putting the seal in, same as the other side. Kind of will self-start itself. There's a nice bevel. Get the correct size socket, hammer it in. I think if you had a solid bench top and you just drove this in with a couple of good whacks, it would be much easier than trying to gently caress it in and making sure you're not rolling it to one side. But take your time. It's pretty straightforward. And I did mess up the driver's side one time and felt unsafe with it, so I popped it out and redid it. So that's why I said order 3 seals when you start, so you're not stuck waiting for a couple more for another day or two. In fact, I would just order 4 seals and have 1 backup for each side. And you'll buy another Hummer eventually, and then you'll use them for the other one anyways. You're going to want to clean really good with brake cleaner the entire flange area on the housing. This is where you're going to put anaerobic sealer, where it mates up with your differential. This needs to be spotless. Anywhere that looks like it was previously sealed with the sealer is where you want to scrub it. Also, you want to clean really good the mating surface on the differential where the axle is going to pop into.
Let that hang back out of the way now. There's our bolt for putting this up in place. And I just trashed the ceiling. I'm gonna try to fix that. There's so much there, it's easy to fix. don't forget your sealant there when you're doing this. And as always, a set of gloves and some baby wipes is your best friend. It just makes it so easy. Alright, and have your starter screws ready here too. First couple of those. And when you get this going, don't forget you're gonna have to kind of work that C-clip through the channel. And there's that. I'd say we're in. Alright, open nose tight as hell. Alright, get this little wipe off here. That's it. Takes care of itself. No reason to take off anything else.
I hope this video helped you. It's really not a bad job. You'll just need a couple hours one afternoon, and you're getting this done for 50 bucks, unless you have to buy a slide hammer if you can't borrow one. I had quotes that ranged from 500 to 650 for both the seals, and that was me providing the seals, so I had Delco ones. And to be honest, it just wasn't worth it. For the 650 for being in the driveway for a couple hours, it's a good paycheck for yourself, and then you have a whole lot of money left over for when your exhaust manifold bolts need replacing and that gasket, which to me is a worthwhile process to pay someone for. And this is just slightly elevated oil change, and really not that bad. So good luck.